is up, guys? EJ here, aka Puckbond007, and welcome to the Movie Reviewers 100, this great collaboration channel on YouTube and Facebook, and now Instagram, that I'm proud to be a part of. So it's been a few weeks since I've made a video, kind of iffy on what week we're on, but I think we're doing Organized Crime Week over the past couple weeks, so I decided instead of talking about just one movie, I would give you my top 10 Mafia movies, or my top 10 mob films, organized crime films. Big fan of crime movies, and especially organized crime movies. So I like doing lists, as you know, and gives me a great opportunity to give you my top 10 Mafia films. So yeah, for a while, up until like 2002, every film on my list at least starred either Robert De Niro or Al Pacino. So you'll see a lot of De Niro and Pacino in this list. There's a couple movies now that are on there that those star either of those two greats. But yeah, so let's get started. Counting down as always, we start off at number 10 with Once Upon a Time in America. Yeah, great epic film, directed by Sergio Leone, starring Robert De Niro and James Woods. Yeah, epic film, takes place over 50 years in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, about a Jewish American gangster. These two guys, Woods and De Niro, play lifelong friends. Fantastic supporting cast. Elizabeth McGovern, Joe Pesci, Burt Young, Tuesday Weld, great character actors like Danny Aiello and William Forsythe. Very young and beautiful Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, just a gorgeous, epic film. Great music, fantastic setting, and fantastic performances by Robert De Niro and James Woods. So that's Once Upon a Time in America at number 10. Okay, moving on to number 9. Great film from 1993. The directorial debut of Robert De Niro, A Bronx Tale. Yeah, fantastic movie based on the play by Chaz Palminteri, who also stars in the film. Yeah, the film's set in the Bronx, in Little Italy. Robert De Niro plays a hard-working bus driver who's trying to keep his son away from the local crime boss, Sonny, played by Chaz Palminteri. Fantastic performance by Palminteri. He also wrote the screenplay. Yeah, just a great film. The young kid who plays Calogera. There's like 3 or 4, couple different versions of actors who play the son. But yeah, really great movie about a father trying to keep his son away from going down that path. Yeah, the best scene in this movie is when the bikers wind up in the bar, and they sort of get into it with the mob guys, and they close the door on him and like, now you can't leave. That's a fantastic scene. Yeah, just a great film overall, The Bronx Tale, and 2 great performances by De Niro and Palminteri, who had a big hand in making this film overall, obviously. A Bronx Tale at number 9. Alright guys, moving on to number 8, film I talked about before, and that is Mean Streets from 1973, directed by Martin Scorsese. Yeah, one of his earliest films. Certainly announced him as one of the great directors to emerge from the 70s. His first team pairing with Robert De Niro, who of course stars in this movie, alongside Harvey Keitel. Sort of semi-autobiographical. Yeah, fantastic film, set in Little Italy again, about hoods working for the mob. Fantastic performance by Robert De Niro as Johnny Boy. Harvey Keitel, great as always, and yeah, certainly marked Scorsese with this debut as a major force to come for the past 30-40 years since then. Yeah, Mean Streets at number 8. Okay, moving on to number 7. Another film directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Robert De Niro. and that is, of course, Casino from 1995. Yeah, fantastic film, of course, set in Las Vegas, 1973. Two mobsters fighting over a gambling empire and the lust of beautiful woman, of course, played by Sharon Stone. James Woods in this as well, great. Joe Pesci, of course. Kevin Pollak. Yeah, fantastic film. Not my favorite Scorsese film that he's made in the past 15, 20 years or so, but still a great movie. Casino at number 7. Alright guys, moving on to number 6, we have Scarface from 1983. Yeah, fantastic film directed by Brian De Palma. Great screenplay by Oliver Stone. Yeah, Al Pacino, fantastic as Tony Montana, a Cuban immigrant who comes to Miami set in 1980, and becomes obsessed with power and greed, taking over the local drug cartel. Yeah, fantastic film. Sort of a bit dated these days, but sort of synonymous with Al Pacino, and always a big fan of rappers. Seem to love this movie. I always showed up on MTV's Cribs when they'd always show like posters of Scarface and shit like that. Yeah, iconic film. Michelle Pfeiffer, great. Great people like Robert Loggia, F. Murray Abraham, and so on. Big fan of Scarface, always have been. Yeah, just one of Pacino's most iconic performances. Scarface at number 6. Alright, the film from 2002, the film I mentioned, that this is the first movie that does not star either Pacino or Robert De Niro. So at number 5 we have Road to Perdition. Yeah, directed by Sam Mendes. Fantastic film about the Chicago mob, the Irish mob in Chicago. Tom Hanks plays Michael Sullivan, a hitman for the mob. One night his son witnesses what he does for a living, and so that basically puts a hit out on his family. Of course, the rest of the film is basically Tom Hanks fleeing with his remaining son, played by Tyler Hoechlin. Yeah, just a beautiful, gorgeous looking movie. Fantastic cinematography by Roger Deakins. Great supporting cast. Paul Newman, awesome as the mob boss. Jude Law, fantastic as a hired gun. Jennifer Jason Leigh's in it. Daniel Craig before he took over as James Bond, of course. Stanley Tucci, just a fantastic film. One of my favorite Tom Hanks performances, and one of the best movies of the 2000s in my opinion. Road to Perdition at number 5. Alright guys, moving on to number 4, one of my favorite mob movies, if you like. I think I did a full review of this film before on this channel for Brian De Palma Week, and that is The Untouchables from 1987, of course, directed by Brian De Palma. Absolutely love this film. Fantastic movie. Kevin Costner, great as Elliot Ness, the federal agent who comes to Chicago in Prohibition era to take down notorious mob kingpin Al Capone, of course, played by a fantastic performance by Robert De Niro in what is basically a sort of extended cameo. Yeah, Sean Connery, fantastic as the beat cop who shows Ness the Chicago way. Andy Garcia as the young rookie recruit that joins the team, along with Charles Martin Smith. Yeah, fantastic movie. So many great epic moments. The music. Yeah, just love this film. The Untouchables at number 4. If you want to check out my full review of this movie, I'll put a link in the description to that video so you can check it out. Okay, moving on to number 3. Fantastic film, of course. Again, directed by Martin Scorsese, and that is, of course, The Departed from 2006. Again, the only other film on this list that does not star Pacino or De Niro. Yeah, fantastic film, of course. Oscar-winning movie for Best Picture and Best Director for Scorsese. Finally, he won his Oscar for this amazing remake of the Hong Kong film Infernal Affairs. yeah, again, takes place in South Boston, involving the Irish mob. Leo DiCaprio plays a undercover cop who's a mole inside um, the crime syndicate ran by Jack Nicholson, and a fantastic performance by him. And of course, Matt Damon is Nicholson's mole, working the cops. Yeah, just a great supporting cast. Martin Sheen, Mark Wahlberg, Vera Farmiga, Alec Baldwin. Just a fantastic movie from start to finish. Great ending. The Departed really one of Scorsese's crowning achievements, and really very deserving of its Oscar win in 2006. So that's The Departed at number 3. Alright guys, moving on to number 2. Some would say the best mob movie ever. If it's not number 1, it's pretty damn close, and that is of course Goodfellas. Probably the pinnacle of Martin Scorsese's career, from 1990. Fantastic film, of course, centered around mobster Henry Hill, played by Ray Liotta, who's fantastic in the movie. Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, fantastic as well, of course. Paul Sorvino, Lorraine Bracco. Yeah, so many iconic moments. Just the perfect marriage between Scorsese and De Niro and Joe Pesci. Yeah, just fantastic film. Goodfellas, just one of the greatest movies of all time, and definitely one of my favorite films of the 1990s. Goodfellas at number 2. Okay, that leads me to number 1, and there can only be number one. I actually amended my list because I used to always separate the 2 of the 3 movies I'm going to talk about now, because I used to have, but I wanted to incorporate them all together and talk about them. And that is, of course, the Godfather trilogy. The Godfather, of course, from 1972, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, who, of course, directed all 3 of the movies. Yeah, just fantastic, epic filmmaking. Story of American crime family led by Marlon Brando as the great Don Vito Corleone. Yeah, just a fantasc filmmaking. Al Pacino as his reluctant son at first, plays Michael. John Cazale, great. Robert Duvall, James Caan, Diane Keaton. Of course, 1972. 1974, The Godfather Part 2, almost on par with The Godfather, the original. A lot of people might even say they like it even more. Of course, introduced Robert De Niro as the young version of Vito Corleone. I'm saying his name different ways, Corleone and Corleone. But yeah, fantastic, absolutely on par with the first movie. And of course, The Godfather Part 3 from 1990 gets much maligned, but it's still a terrific film. Doesn't really deserve the hate that it gets, I think. It's certainly not as good as the first 2 movies, but it's still a very good movie. Again, great cast. Talia Shire. Yeah, Sofia Coppola in it as well. Yeah, fantastic trilogy, of course. Epic filmmaking on all levels. Francis Ford Coppola's masterpiece, The Godfather trilogy, of course. And it's my pick for number 1. So there you have it, my top 10 Mafia films, or mob movies, or organized crime movies for Organized Crime Week. Big fan of these type of films. Yeah, and of course people like Scorsese, Robert De Niro, and Al Pacino are synonymous with these type of films. So let me know what you think of my list. Thank you for watching as always. Make sure you check out videos from the other guys this week. I think Alan reviewed Gangster number 1, and I'm not sure what Scott reviewed, but he posted a video yesterday. So check that out, because I have to do that as well. So thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see you.
Bond. James Bond.